So we're just going to show you what it looks like underneath the carpet and the underlay. So what we've done is we've pinned it all back. As you can see in the floor pan here, this is a big puddle of water. Now, the reason making this video, with the carpet down, you wouldn't actually realise how much water actually gathers underneath the carpet when there's a water leak. And as you can see here, a lot of cars have cables and sensors running down in the floor pans. So we can see that obviously this box here is submerged in the water, or half submerged, and the wiring loom as well has got water in it. So this is another reason why we recommend to dry out the whole of the vehicle, because obviously you don't want that condensating on your cables. And this is obviously the underlay, so if we just give that a squeeze, so we can see how much water's still left in that underlay. So it's just going to keep on building up and building up, so we need to suck all of that out before we can put it on our drying procedure. So that would be the Volvo. So we've got the Audi A4. We've managed to take the back trims out and lift the carpet up. So we're just going to show you obviously what we've found so far. So obviously looking at the obviously underlay, you can see that it's very wet there. I'm just trying to get a lever bar down the side of the window. Right, okay. So this is saturated, same as the front. This is all soaking wet as well. Obviously we've got cables here which are submerged, so that could be possibly an electrical problem, but obviously we'll suck that all out and dry that out. So we'll remove the front seat to remove the carpet up, and as you can see in there, if we just shake the car, we can see how much water's actually in the bottom of the footwell. So if I just give it a little bit of a slosh, so it's quite high as well. Obviously these cables down here are submerged. You've got this underlay up the front which is quite thick, which is the foam, and if I just squeeze that, obviously you can see how wet that actually is. So what we're going to have to do now is obviously we're going to have to suck all of this out as much as we can, and then we're going to then put it into the drying procedure. But it's just to quickly show you obviously how much water was actually underneath the carpet and underneath the underlay. So there we go. So we're just going to show you how much water's actually underneath the underlay on the BMWs, and it's quite thick underlay as well, so it does take quite a time to dry. So if we just have a quick look inside, so once again the whole back of this here is one great big puddle, as we can see. This is obviously the underlay, so if we give this a squeeze, we can see all the water coming out there, and we can see that where it's been condensating on top of the plastic, you can see where it started to obviously work its way into this bit here, and obviously the cables are all wet in there as well. Also, we've got water around here and down here, and the subwoofer is actually sitting in water, so we would have to obviously get that out and make sure that's all dry. And then coming up to the front of the vehicle, we've got a little puddle here. So it's just obviously to show obviously how much water does actually gather underneath. And we can see that it's wet in the front as well. And this is how thick the underlay actually is. So it's, this front bit has got a bit of polystyrene in as well. And the back bit, I believe, is just all foam. But obviously that's why it takes so long to dry, because it has to pull out all of this water from the sponge. Once the sponge sucks it up, it don't really like releasing it. So there we go.